Okay, please find a comfortable posture, maybe a sitting posture, maybe a laying posture, standing posture for 50 minutes. I don't know, but it's possible. The state that we're talking about is not a heightened state, it is not a euphoric state. It has no description. The non dual state is beyond quality, it is beyond qualification. You can't succeed at it or fail at it, you can't attain it. Fundamentally, it is the admitting that it is right here. There may be feelings through disturbances in the mind that obscure that recognition. The mind can stir in such a way that we just prioritize the stirrings of the mind over this very obvious thing. We are perfect, good enough, just as we are. Start to examine the mind and confirm. That's a little premise I just threw out there. Doesn't mean you agree, doesn't mean it's true. Meditation, we're sort of confirming, okay, are most of my reasons for having dis-ease or suffering due to a fluctuation of my mind? That's step one. If you can confirm that that is in fact the source of the problem, then you can do step two. Well, how do I deal with that? How do I once I realize fluctuations of the mind obscure or just really draw my attention to anything that is away from myself. Once we confirm that, step two is okay, well, how do I go about letting that disproportionate value set offset? How do I return to the value set that being with myself, being as myself, is the top priority? For me, it's like we might have to say it's the only priority. Otherwise, the fluctuations of the mind will say, oh, well, what about this? Isn't this interesting? Isn't this important? What about that? And then the fluctuations turn, and we may find ourselves watching a different priority. I actually think there's quite a bit of value in watching different priorities insofar as they start to teach us how to let go of those priorities. Perhaps, the experience of growing tired of something, moving on from something. This may have just happened naturally in your life through just circumstances changing, aging, things that you considered very important just hold no value now. I think in a sort of spiritual maturation process, it's still happening. That we are sort of growing tired of every other priority, and we get left with just being with ourselves. Turns out, just being with ourselves is not a shortcoming. It turns out, at least as the masters say, just being with ourselves is the greatest, you could call it such, achievement there is. It is the most worthwhile boon available. But if we believe that being really good at canasta is more valuable, we're going to be thinking about canasta. And on some level, I'm not sure we can really choose. We have to realize canasta is less important than being, and being with our being. Canasta can come and go, but being with myself, that is non negotiable. And so you may think about canasta sometimes, but when it's not time to think about canasta, you will not suffer because you won't have to think about canasta. How do we learn to appropriately land our priorities so that we just appreciate the moment? We appreciate our canasta moments. We appreciate our shuffleboard moments. We appreciate our ping pong moments. You can insert whatever sort of priorities you have. This person who I'm talking about tonight, they love games for senior citizens. And they've got their list of priorities: canasta, shuffleboard, and ping pong. But when they're not playing ping pong, they don't think about ping pong. They might think about shuffleboard. But when they're not playing shuffleboard, they don't think about shuffleboard. And they get to a point where there's no more things to think about. Can you imagine it? Being in a place where there is just nothing left to think about. And that the worldly things in your life, they just flowed. They had their births, their maturations, and their passings. Their coming and going. But being subsisted throughout all these worldly priorities. But if canasta holds the key to my happiness, I imagine I'd be thinking about it all the time. And so we have to ask ourselves, does canasta hold the key to our happiness? Or does being with ourselves? Try to be honest in this moment of reflection. Do you have something playing the role of canasta that if you just got good enough at it, or if you just achieved it, or if it was a little different, it'd have the key to your happiness? We don't get to decide. It just fills itself with fluctuations in the mind. You'll know it's to be true because it will be there in your mind. Meditation puts us in touch with our priorities. I remember in one of these groups, it used to be in person long ago, a friend decided to come. And I asked a similar question. I said, imagine that you achieved your dream, your ambition. And I said, if you really achieved it, would you have this lasting happiness? I remember looking at him and he had his eyes closed and he had this big grin on his face and he was nodding yes. But he's not here anymore. I imagine he's off pursuing the achievement of that dream. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. Until he realizes maybe it's not going to provide a lasting happiness, and yet is still pursuing it. As you sit with a different kind of interest, an interest in just being with yourself, consider what else may enter your mind, a desire or a fear that bumps you, that causes this fluctuation in the mind. And ask yourself, if you solve that problem, would it provide lasting happiness? Sometimes it takes a little while to work it out. We can't just know it intellectually. We must feel in our hearts that it's fiction. And fiction only provides temporary happiness. Some of you are tricksters. Some of you may be even believing that enlightenment is something outside of just being with yourself. Can you feel it? The part of you that fluctuates the mind, that makes you believe that you, right now, as you are, is not good enough. Where did this idea come from? Show them. Show them that they're fiction. Show them that being with yourself, as yourself, is plenty. It's okay if it takes time to work through. If you felt the fluctuations of the mind, were they just the fluctuations? Or did they disturb you? Sometimes our lives, we have to be with things. They need our attention, helps us understand and grow, but it doesn't disturb our beingness. Just feel into it right now. Is the beingness unsettled by your thoughts? Is it a problem? Or are thoughts like feeling the cool breeze, watching the chipmunks run around, just a dance of consciousness? No obstacle to being with your beingness. Or did those fluctuations call you as if your happiness was somehow locked away in it? If so, just ask yourself, is it really there in those thoughts? Or is the happiness happening by being with your beingness? That you need not change at all. Feel with your heart. It may take time to work through. Can you feel the presence of being? It can't come or go or change. It's just happening in every present moment. Here you are. You exist. It's so obvious, so simple. Sadness and happiness fluctuate with the mind, come and go. Perhaps you're growing tired of it. Growing tired of it, it also comes and goes. It fluctuates down the river. But your beingness, it weathers it. It exists. Whether you're eager for life or growing tired of it. Recognize the simplicity, the profoundness of being with your beingness. Be with your beingness. Nothing needs to be done or completed. Can you feel into it's happening? It's already happening. There's a feeling of lack. Is that not just a fluctuation of the mind? With perhaps an imbalanced priority? Can you sit with yourself and sit with your life as it passes through the river of consciousness? Can you be there, watching eternally? Is it that bad you have to turn away? Remember, your being does not come and go. Your being, it's always with you. It is you. Let the river of life and consciousness flow on its course. Bear witness to the tides. You can still be with your beingness. Feel into it with your heart. You neither turn toward or away from life. Let the fluctuations fluctuate. They might tell you to avoid, to acquire, to change, alter, achieve, shun, repress. Notice if the fluctuations convince you the key to your being, your happiness, is locked away in some other version of this moment. And feel with your heart, your being. It's already here. Be with your beingness. You can't not do it, whether there's fluctuations or not. You are being. Feel with your heart if it isn't good enough already. Settle into it. Feel the power of just being. You're already doing it. You've been flourishing at it for eternity. Settle into it. Feel the radiance. Feel the greatness of existing, of being. It is full of wonder. Relax from the practice.